The untold truth about DMX wasn't just his chart-topping success or his troubled life. It was the profound contradiction that defined his entire existence. Earl Simmons was born in December 1970 in Mount Vernon, New York, to a teenage mother who struggled to raise him. His childhood was the definition of traumatic. By age 14, he was homeless, sleeping in the bitter cold of Yonkers, befriending stray dogs who became his only companions. These early years shaped the rage and pain that would later fuel his music. What most people don't know is that before music saved him, DMX was a chronic thief, arrested multiple times before he could even drive. His childhood nickname wasn't X. Friends called him Crazy Earl because of his unpredictable behavior and willingness to take any risk. The DMX who burst onto the hip-hop scene in 1998 wasn't an overnight success. He'd been grinding for nearly a decade, appearing on tracks with Jay-Z, LL Cool J, and the LOX, before getting his own deal. When his debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, dropped, it did something unprecedented. It knocked the untouchable Titanic soundtrack from the #1 spot. Then he delivered a second #1 album in the same year, something no rapper had ever done. Between 1998 and 2003, DMX released 5 consecutive albums that all debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, a record that stood until Drake broke it years later. Behind these massive achievements was a man battling demons that few understood. DMX suffered from bipolar disorder, though he was misdiagnosed for years. His addiction to crack cocaine began at just 14 years old when a mentor he trusted laced a blunt without telling him. That betrayal started a 30-year struggle with substances that he never fully overcame. The growling, barking Rough Rider wasn't a gimmick. It represented the duality he felt between man and beast, between light and darkness. What many fans don't realize is how deeply spiritual DMX was. Between explicit lyrics about violence and sex, he would include heartfelt prayers on every album. These weren't performative. DMX actually pursued becoming an ordained deacon and spoke openly about reading the Bible daily. In prison, fellow inmates would gather to hear him preach. This wasn't the contradiction of a hypocrite, it was the authentic struggle of a man trying to find redemption while battling his own nature. His acting career is often overlooked, but X starred in over a dozen films, including Belly, Romeo Must Die, and Cradle to the Grave. Producers reported he had natural talent, but was often unreliable due to his addictions. He earned over $40 million at his peak, but declared bankruptcy multiple times. Most of his earnings went to child support for his 15 children from 9 different women, legal fees, and rehabilitation costs. In the mid-2000s, DMX's career began to decline as his legal troubles mounted. Between 2000 and 2015, he was arrested over 30 times for charges ranging from drug possession to animal cruelty. He spent significant time behind bars, including a 1-year sentence in 2018 for tax fraud. Even his lawyer admitted DMX was his own worst enemy, sabotaging opportunities just as things were looking up. What's truly remarkable is that despite all this chaos, DMX maintained an intensely loyal fan base. His raw vulnerability spoke to people who felt the same internal conflicts. In interviews, he would weep openly while discussing his childhood trauma and relationship with God. This authenticity made him a folk hero to millions. When DMX entered a room, even celebrities became fans. Stories of his generosity are legendary. He would literally give homeless people the clothes off his back and once gave his $30,000 watch to a casino worker who admired it. In his final years, DMX appeared to be turning a corner. He had reconnected with his children, was working on new music, and had maintained sobriety for periods. He spoke about wanting to mentor young artists away from the mistakes he had made. Tragically, in April 2021, he suffered a heart attack triggered by a cocaine overdose that left him in a vegetative state. When the machines were turned off, his favorite song, Slippin', played in the background, a track about falling down and getting back up again. DMX's legacy is complex but undeniable. His musical influence can be heard in artists from Kendrick Lamar to XXXTentacion. Beyond music, he showed that vulnerability in hip-hop wasn't weakness, it was strength. The untold truth about DMX isn't just about his troubles or triumphs. It's about how one man could contain such extreme multitudes: violence and spirituality, self-destruction and wisdom, darkness and profound light. Perhaps that's why, years after his death, millions still bark in his honor. X wasn't just a rapper. He was the embodiment of the human struggle, fighting until his final breath.